This past month has been the most fun I've had gaming all year. Not because I'm playing Squadrons, or The Ancient Gods, or Teardown, or Jet Set Radio. Wink. What stood out isn't a game, but a game festival. The Steam Games Festival is a celebration, a fair, and like any good fair, I felt a lot of things throughout. Excitement, curiosity, disgust, wonder, but more than anything else, I felt nostalgia. Not the shallow, remember this thing from your childhood kind of nostalgia. The sort which present new and exciting things in a similar manner to your fondest memories. In this case, demos. Back when magazines featured compilation discs and shareware dominated the early internet, demos were commonplace. Even as late as the 7th console generation, the Xbox 360 featured free trials on all Xbox Live Arcade titles. Demos served as a vital tool for consumers, not just to try out games they're already interested in, but discovering things they'd otherwise have missed. In an age where the number of releases and the price of games only seems to increase, demanding extensive research, there's a magic in being able to start a game without knowing its genre, style, history, and production. A discovery that can't happen when you're researching trailers, forum posts, and online videos to verify a $60 or higher purchase. That's the magic I felt in this festival. An overwhelming list of games all in one place for 1 week. It reignited the wonder from all those years ago when I picked up that disc, not knowing what was in store. It was the drive to download dozens of games, even those which aren't to my usual taste, because there was nothing to lose by doing so. I wasn't losing money, having my expectations squashed, not even much time wasted. Worst case scenario, I'd stop playing. Best case scenario, I'm falling in love and desperately want more. And for the first time. It's rare to feel that initial excitement where you realize you're playing something great, and I was getting to feel that constantly. I played Ghostrunner multiple times, streaming it on Discord before stumbling upon Speed Limit and immediately adding it to my wishlist, despite having no history of side-scrolling Metal Slug shooters. I jumped from being immersed in a cyberpunk stealth action RPG like Disjunction to deflecting projectiles in 9 Monkeys of Shaolin and fighting friends on party animals for 3 hours.
Get it!
No, yes! No! Keep running, Gavin! Keep running!
This was amazing. I'm kicking myself for ignoring previous festivals as just another boring sales event. Between the developer chats, quick pitches, live streams, and sheer variety, it's so much more than that. And as I found out, that was very intentional. The Steam Games Festival was first introduced last year, the brainchild of equally famous and infamous gaming host, Geoff Keighley. Now feels like the right time to take a completely digital approach to the consumer event space. Not everyone can attend a physical trade show or consumer event. The Game Festival is designed from the ground up as an event without barriers, extending the benefits of a physical event to the global gaming community. However you may feel about this man doesn't matter in this instance. Fact is, he was more right than even he was aware of. With COVID-19, not only is it more difficult for groups of people to collaborate and make games together, it's often impossible for trade shows and live events to happen where these games are showcased. Events that, like movie theaters, were already struggling long before the pandemic started. It's quite fitting Keighley himself presented this year's Gamescom livestream, because it directly contrasts the success of the Games Festival. Where this live show's interviews are scripted like a school play, real discussions between developers and players took place, supported by gameplay everyone has access to, rather than watching a choreographed vertical slice. Where Blizzard, Sony, and Microsoft are showcasing products beyond their own shows, padding the program at best and burying less fortunate developers at worst, this week was spent publicizing games that don't have the luxury of mass marketing. Where out-of-touch segments eat up 2 hours of your life just to watch games, you could spend as many hours as you want playing them, even with friends. The Games Festival is proof that this dated format isn't necessary. This has been the first year without E3, and for the average player, has anything been lost? Yes, the initial excitement of seeing the list of trailers for games you are and are not familiar with was there, but that excitement for me has died down year after year to the point where its lack of existence this year barely registered. Think about it. There are entire years of E3 that are only remembered for things like
Ridge Racer!
This single festival was better than E3 ever was. It avoided all of the tedium, suspicion, manipulation, and cringe-inducing moments we've grown so accustomed to. Instead, everybody got to experience what we're all there for. Games. Not an exclusive group of journalists, not those with the patience to wait 5 hours per demo, not those with the income to even make the trek out to a convention center. Just anybody with an internet connection. I was told about Ghostrunner months ago, but experiencing it for myself is infinitely more powerful, and what directly led to me binging it on launch day. And games aren't the only thing I've taken from the festival. Haven is a game that didn't click with me on a moment-to-moment basis, but its soundtrack by Danger is so infectious, I'm writing this script to it. For years I've understood why demos steadily eroded, but I just can't add dozens of games to my Steam wishlist in a week and think demos aren't worth something. But maybe this festival is what demos have needed all along. Scott the Woz has a great video on demo discs, and in it, he expresses that downloading a single demo of the game you're interested in doesn't elicit that wonder those discs with dozens of them had. And it's a sentiment I share. Until this festival, I can't recall the last demo I played. Multiplayer betas have been the closest analog, though they don't carry the context, especially as a pre-order incentive. I don't think it's a coincidence that most big games featuring betas are established franchises predestined to sell, and the exceptions likely reaffirm the belief that demos decrease sales. I played the Anthem beta, and it's why I didn't buy Anthem. The game's festival, however, is the closest we've ever come to not just recreating the demo disc experience, but going beyond. Featuring hundreds of games rather than half a dozen, upcoming and in-development projects, easy downloads rather than a mailed disc, all without these games requiring a major publisher. Almost all of these games are lacking in exposure. Ghostrunner and Party Animals were the most widely covered, and they're not exactly hitting the view counts of 2077. Most would drown in the algorithm, never to resurface, but by being featured for a week on PC's biggest platform, it acts as the indie floor to PAX or GDC. And because the festival focuses on smaller games with less marketing, players aren't jumping into hype cycles with overly high expectations or an attachment to a particular brand. It's an environment that facilitates a more open-minded approach to games, in contrast to the most popular franchises in the last 10 years, which have been designed from the ground up to keep you hooked to just one game. In this event, playing way more than one game is the fun. It's the fun I remember having at PAX, only without a train trip, $90 pass, creepy assholes on buses, and lineups that made it impossible to play most of the games. It is what Keighley envisioned, the event experience with none of the downsides. For now. Note, this video is speaking entirely from a player's perspective. From a developer's standpoint, just because you're not buried by the regular storefront algorithm, it doesn't mean your game is going to explode in sales. I can also see a future where bigger and bigger games are featured in these festivals until it becomes just another billboard for whoever's dropping 100 million that year, akin to the criticism that's been laid at PAX. And with the lack of attention, at least judging by YouTube, I'm not going to say definitively that Steam Games Festival is the future, but I do think it should be part of it. My goal isn't to abolish the pitches, friendships, and cheers these trade shows facilitate, but I do believe there have not only been too many shows, but too much going on within them. There's a time and place for panel interviews, mobile news, 10-minute cinematics, even advertisements, and gaming conferences aren't one of them. Their absence has only confirmed how unnecessary all of that fluff is. Even heavy hitters like Nintendo and Sony caught on before the pandemic forced everyone else to fall in line. But truth be told, the PS5 Live show, while an improvement from, it's not exciting. It's not using the technology we have today presenting games to people more directly and personally. It's just trimming the fat. Doing what these press conferences should have done eons ago. The Games Festival, however, is nostalgic and innovative. If the future can host more events like this instead of that, then it's a future I eagerly await. Why is 9-inch nails just noise? To shoo away bitches like you. When are you starting a line of Rule 34 products? When my porn career does. Can you say trans rights? I did at Blizzard's expense a couple years ago on Twitter, but I should probably say it for real this time. Trans rights are human rights. Trans people deserve the same courtesy and respect as anyone else. If you have concerns, that's fine. If you have questions, that's fine. I've been guilty of ignorance just as anybody else. But if you can't empathize with them, or don't think they deserve to be treated as people, go fuck yourself. Can we get a music channel? I know nothing about music, except The Virgin Suicides is Air's best album and Maneater slaps. Up yours, Shy. Are you running the Killer Gypsy Quips Twitter account? Am I cute boyfriend material? Go to bed, Cal. Years later, when? When I convince Mini-Me to do it.